I think the question that we were going to raise here is, is this the Super Bowl that we wanted? Now, if it was the 49ers that had won, obviously I think a large demographic would have been very happy because the 49ers fans, they travel well. And they're a very good fan base. But also overall, I think if the Chiefs had won, like in my personal opinion, I'm happy that Patrick Mahomes. I'm not happy. I'm happy that this Super Bowl is different. I'm not happy that Patrick Mahomes lost. I think he's one of the best young quarterbacks to ever come into the NFL. I think he's going to be the best when it's all said and done. But overall, I think that this is going to be the Super Bowl everybody wanted. Like I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this will be one of the most viewed Super Bowls of all time because you've got two teams that have been waiting. In the Rams that have been putting this together for years. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, lost in perhaps the most boring Super Bowl I've ever watched.
Yes,
to the New England Patriots, and now they're in a position where they've got the quarterback. That was the only piece, Joe, they were missing. It was like you putting a. I don't know if you watch Milan. I love Disney movies, but like on her dog, she put like a string with a bone that was like right in front of its face, and it would always like try to run around. That's how she would feed the chickens. So, and again, I'm sorry to bring up Disney Pixar movies right now, but that's what I had to go with for an analogy here. So they were a quarterback away. They were a legitimate quarterback. Now, Jared Goff is not a legitimate quarterback, not near the caliber that Matt Stafford was. So what did they do? They went out and got Matt Stafford, and now they're in the Super Bowl. I don't believe that's a coincidence. And then on the flip side of that, you've got Joe Burrow and the Bengals that nobody's counting them out anymore. Joe Burrow is playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. He's got weapons for days. His offensive line is leaky, and his defense is improved. But I think this is going to be one of the best and most viewed Super Bowls of all time.
Yeah. I mean, you asked at the beginning, you said, is this the Super Bowl we wanted? And it's not Cowboys Chiefs, which is what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
But no, of the four teams that we had left, this is definitely the best combination. We talked about the Niners, Bengals being a good sentimental favorite just because it would have been the third. It is the third Super Bowl for the Bengals, and it would have been the first two times they also played against the 49ers and lost to Joe Montana teams. It's just a completely different era of football that I'm old enough to remember and happened before you were born. Because the last time the Bengals were in there was 1989. So it's a fresh face. It's cool. Which you forget the Chiefs were kind of a fresh face in the Super Bowl just a couple of years ago because the Chiefs weren't a dominant presence in the NFL for long stretches of time. They kind of, they had a bit of a run in the 90s when they got Montana after he left San Francisco and they went with Steve Young. But they were at the basement of the AFC West for the longest time. With the Raiders went to Super Bowls and Broncos, obviously, and well, not the Chargers, but the Chargers were a dominant team for most of the last, during the peak of the Phillip Rivers era. I think they went to 2 or 3 consecutive AFC championships and lost to the Patriots. So it's awesome to see Cincinnati in there, fresh as a daisy from 1989. And this Rams team, even though they were here in 2019, it's a different look Rams team, not just because they changed the uniform to look more like the Chargers uniform for some inexplicable reason. Like they moved into the same stadium and they coordinated outfits, which I don't like because I really like the Rams old unis. I love the St. Louis Rams unis the most.
Yes, classics.
And the blue. But in terms of a new look, I mean, you talk about Matthew Stafford being the catalyst for this team. And I think, yes, he's 100% improvement over Jared Goff and a coup for that team because I always thought Jared Goff was a fraud. I think a fraud coach drafted him in 8-8 mustache face. Why can't I think of it? Jeff Fisher. Yeah. But the season that Goff was a rookie, they did the NFL Hard Knocks with them, and they had just moved from St. Louis to LA, but they were still playing in the Coliseum because SoFi hadn't been built yet. And I remember Jared Goff being caught on camera asking some of his fellow players where the sun goes when it sets. And that always gave me, I think I brought this up in previous episodes. It always stuck with me. I was like, he might be tall, he might have pocket presence and have, the various skills associated. He might be a good quarterback on paper, but he's not a smart dude. No. Doesn't come off as a super smart dude, and which helps a lot when you're a quarterback. It's not the most important thing. Ben Roethlisberger was very successful. So I was waiting for you to get that. So
sorry. Almost flew right over my head.
Yeah. So the core, Stafford is a great improvement over Goff. But they also got Von Miller, and they got Odell Beckham, and they got Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying is like they've been building this team for years, putting different pieces in. And that's why I said Aaron Donald may be the best player on this defense when you've got guys like Jalen Ramsey back there. And now, granted, Miller is not he's not the player he once was, but he's still effective enough to be able to get the job done.
Absolutely.
And I feel like there's going to be a lot that goes into that. But I think just answering the question of is this the Super Bowl we wanted, I think this is the closest thing that we could have wished for because of all the other alternatives now.